Welcome to Dysfunctional Dialogue. I'm John McParland, and I am joined here with Brian Smith. You met him once before in a podcast I had with Mike Esposito, and Brian is back now, my college roommate, longtime friend. Brian, welcome to the program.
Thank you, John. I guess I have to say thank you.
You don't have to say anything, Brian. Actually, you have to say something. Otherwise, what's the point of having a conversation for all to hopefully enjoy?
Hello, everybody.
Yes, indeed. Hello, hello. So Brian and I go way back, but what's really cool about this is, for me, this is my first in-person podcast. I've always have somebody, via telecommunications on it, and now I get it in person. The reason why that is Brian Smith surprised me this weekend out of the blue. In fact, his plan was to be on the front lawn in a lawn chair drinking a beverage for me to come out, but I spoiled that because I was cutting the grass. And then I realized I had to help him into the house, and feed him for 2 days.
It went off well.
So Brian and I, again, we go way back, freshman year roommates, but we actually knew each other in high school. But we never really hung out in high school. We kind of had two different friends groups, and he was always on one side, I was on the other side. And like right before we were about to go off to college, the school would post who's going where. And I think we just happened to be in front of the board at the same time. We're looking at it like, oh, you're going to Niagara? Oh, I'm going to Niagara too. Okay, cool. Hey, and I think you said you want a room? I guess we'll see, maybe. But then when we got the diplomas, he's walking up and I'm like right by the line where they hand out the diplomas. And as he's just about to get it, I said, so what, roommates? Sure. And then the movie began. Fast forward to the following fall, and Brian was jacked, going to college, as most people are, as was I. Only Brian had this, it was true for him, but it was a grand delusion for me to get up there earlier. It was a 7.5 hour drive to get up there from where we live, some of you know. And I had a bachelor party the night before, not mine, somebody else's, and we were up till 4 o'clock in the morning, and we were drinking hard as you will. And my parents drove me up. We filed through a little Chevy Citation, the two of us, my laundry. I'm sorry, three of us, and my laundry, and whatever I was bringing with me. And I was in the back of the Chevy Citation, and from the New York City area up to Niagara Falls, I vomited all the way up to Rochester. That was like 6/7 of the ride. I was in the back seat with a bag puking, and I get up there and Brian is already just having a party, grand old party up there. And I show up and I'm sure I was still green. We get up to the room, and I'll never forget when Brian was, remember when you were first introduced to my mom? The first time, my mom's dropping me off of college. Her little boy, you're always concerned when your kids goes off of college. So Brian walks up. He's only been up there for a handful of hours now, and he's wearing a robe, pair of shorts, and construction boots. And he walks up to greet my mom and just reaches out his hand to say, "Hi, Mrs. McParland." Says, "Hi, Mrs. McParland," and realizes he had something in his hand. It was like a fifth of Jack or something like that. And it was Seagram 7 or something. And he took it, he switched it over to the hand, and he shook. And my mom just looked at him up and down and just looked at me and just shook her head because she knew, me and, what my potential or lack thereof was.
Yeah.
It was a good time though, Brian.
Met both you and your mom and your dad.
That's right. That's right. I don't remember you meeting my dad. I don't remember that.
Yes,
it was. I'm sure he was there.
He kind of just chuckled.
Was he there at that moment when he was there? Oh.
Okay. And I was, of course, my parents had left already. Left me up there.
Yeah, we get up there and we get to the room. My mom and I guess my dad was there too at that moment. And the room was immaculate. It was so perfectly put together. I'm like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? This guy's a neat freak. This is not going to go well at all. Well, his mom set him up like any good mom.
Yeah.
Set him up for his success. We'll just say she set you up for success, Brian.
Yeah.
Although the second she left, it really went all downhill for the ensuing months.
It was a fun ride.
Yeah, it was. It was our 4-year vacation for sure. All right, so is there anything in particular you wanted to talk about, Brian?
Um,
I got some things here. I
well,
wrote.
why don't you start off since you got the agenda there?
All right. Well, it's not so much an agenda. I just kind of
Yeah, so this start off.
this is the list that we had put together as a group, and it was bracketology. It was like our top 64 best stories, and we voted on whittle them down. And there's some really good ones in here. Good ones with now. I don't know if I told a story about running from security. I think I may have, but I wouldn't mind just jumping into it. I could always cut it out later on.
Okay.
I mean, you were there for that, right?
Yeah,
What's your memory of that?
back by the Scafidi gym,
That's right.
standing around and acting suspicious and waiting for the old men in the cars to come
So
rolling
the
up.
security guards were these older guys, right? And we were just bored. We weren't drunk or anything. We were sober. This is just kids being bored at
Loitering.
school, loitering, looking for something to do. And one of us got the idea, and I think it might have been me. What happened? What happened, Brian?
We would just act suspicious, and the cars would just slowly start coming around. The security guards, the old men in the security cars, they'd be driving by, and then as they got closer and closer, we all scattered
Just
in
ran.
different directions.
And and these,
Then
yeah,
you see the cars stop, the radio, cars start circling everywhere.
and they're chasing us. I remember being run down, being chased behind them, and going around a building and jumping into a bush. And they kept going, thinking I kept on running. And I jumped out and I kind of waved my arms and I ran and shouted out and ran the other way because they weren't going to catch us. We were young, we were spry. They weren't catching us. But do you remember what happened later? So our friend Jeff works for security. And Jeff was in the security booth, manning the booth, and he hears, and he didn't know we were doing this, but he hears over the security radio, these guys are running. We got to call in backup. We need reinforcements. They're running like gazelles. They're running like gazelles, which is just so classic. And then we ended up realizing that, holy, Jeff was over there. So why don't we just go for a walk? So we ended up after ditching those guys, we just very casually walked across the campus, walked right into the security booth, and all those activities going on. And they didn't know it was us, the guys that were there. And Jeff just shakes his head like, oh no, it had to be you. I knew it was you guys. I knew, and we were hanging out there, and there we hear them calling things. And I can't find them.
Oh,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, man. That was our running from security story.
And then the Christmas lights.
I told that one already.
Oh,
I had waited for you. And I started telling it when you were on because I've been dying to tell that
okay.
story. And we were on with Mike, but then
Right.
you had to bail because he called in from a Food Lion parking lot, the grocery store parking lot.
If you probably look back at the previous episode.
Right.
I don't know what episode it was.
Yeah, no. Insert episode here. All right, Brian, how about and we just joked about this last night over dinner, but every year we'd go camping for a bunch of years, and back when we were younger, it had just really rained hard. It rained a lot actually on our camping trips. And we needed to get the fire going. So Brian always had a can of white gas, right? Is the white gas?
Yep, with my green stove.
Yeah, the Coleman, the
I
classic
still have it. I
Coleman,
still have it.
and it still works.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really something else. And so Brian was pouring, I guess there were still some embers that were still burning underneath that all that wet coal, and Brian was throwing the gas into the fire from the can, and all of a sudden, it just a stream of fire came up, followed the gas right into the can. Now Brian is like, "Oh," and he just doesn't know exactly right away what to do with it. And one of our friends says, just put the cap on it. Meanwhile, there's fire shooting out, and of course he was talking about suffocating the air and fire and putting it out, but there was no getting his metal cap on top of his metal can. So Brian just threw it on the ground, but then you kept kicking it. You you were you were kicking the can, you were spreading the fire all over the place. Yeah,
Yeah.
moments of genius. We had some fun with fire on those trips.
Yeah, my hat.
Yeah,
Yeah, my hat. Yeah, I had my
but
head on fire.
you were definitely
I was
fully.
wearing the hat, and it was on fire on top of my head.
He had no idea at
Yeah,
all. He had no idea at all. I don't know who did it.
yeah, I know.
I
Yeah,
can't I can't say for sure. I do know that there were several of us there. I can say I can confirm that. So, and Brian had, and you had, I think at that point you had just woken up from a nap, I think.
probably.
And actually you did because you woke up, you were passed out there. Well, we had gotten up in the morning, we started drinking, so now it's the middle of the afternoon. Brian decided to take a nap, understandably so, and a couple of us go into the tent, and I'm carrying a citronella candle with me. You don't remember this?
No, I was
And
napping. I was napping.
no, 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 you weren't. You weren't eventually when the hot wax from the citronella candle landed on your leg.
Yes,
You must remember that. I
yes,
mean,
I
that
know.
was
Yes, yes. My friends burned me now. Right.
well, we weren't successful enough. So Brian had what do you call it, a fedora. It was your grandfather's fedora,
Yeah,
right? That was
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
classic, awesome fedora. So Brian would always wear it, and then it was just him. And he's hanging out now. He's gotten up and he's got another beverage in his hand, and we're having all a good time. And you're just like poking at something up with a stick, and we're all just laughing. And for some reason, in your stupor, you were thinking that you were entertaining us
Mm,
with this. Well, it turns out one of us had put some lighter fluid in the bowl on the top of the fedora, and then a match somehow ended up
yeah.
to it, and there was a flame coming off of the hat like this high up, and well, it was entertaining for us. I don't remember how we ended up. I think Eric probably just took it off
No,
and smothered it or something like that.
it didn't. It didn't burn me. I
Eric.
mean, the citronella burned me, but
Yeah.
the flame on top of my
Well, that
head.
was all me. I can confirm that this channel was indeed all me. Although I didn't own up to it then. I didn't. Yeah, I let the blame be shared. Which right now I got some guys, some friends of mine that are watching this and thinking about me, making sure that the blame got shared or passed on to others. Where you were with me Mike at Mike's house and his apartment, and we had gotten a pizza delivered. And do you remember this line where?
My apartment, the door, we opened up the doorway into a hallway,
Yes.
and the entire apartment was about 8 feet wide.
Yeah, and you
It was
couldn't,
just,
and you're sitting on the toilet, and you couldn't like close the door or something.
oh,
So the pizza guy delivered, and like a complete ass, I said to the guy, I'm like, I wanted to tip you, but these guys didn't. I closed the door. I mean, it's terrible. You should always
oh.
tip your service
Remember we
people.
broke the elevator?
So we were in his elevator, and I don't even know, there were like six of us, something like that. It's probably we're already busting through the weight limit. We get in there, and I guess someone decided to open it up between floors, and it just stopped. We're stuck there. Oh, I know what it was. I know what it was. I think it was going too slow, and one of us had farted, and it was the day after a lot of drinking and eating bad food and stuff, and it was putrid in there. I remember that distinctly. It was nostril burning stank that was in there, and I think just someone like couldn't take it. And while like this really slow elevator is moving between like it was like four floors or something, it was all, but it took forever. Someone had grabbed the doors to kind of get some oxygen, and now we're stuck between floors. We had to. How dangerous is that? We climbed out of there between
That
floors.
was a cartoon house, though. That whatever apartment building that was that you lived in, Mike, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Door, I remember the door opening out into the hallway to go into his apartment,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it was just a wall of windows, and you could look right into the other apartment
I don't remember that. That's
right
funny. That's a
across
little
the
weird.
air shaft. It's basically an air shaft. Because I remember sitting there, and Mike had a little television set in front of these windows, and we were sitting on this raggedy old couch, 6 feet away is the other side of the wall, and you saw people in the other apartment. We were waving at them, and they were waving back at us. And it was a cartoon house. It really was. I
Well,
mean,
cartoon house is my Hoboken house is a cartoon house.
oh,
So the floor had a slope on it, almost like a movie theater. I was on the fourth floor of this walk up. I mean, it was great, cheap rent, and it was right on Park. And whoever knows Hoboken, Park Avenue in Hoboken, which is pretty close to the path. Great location, great rent, stumbling distance from a bunch of different bars, as most of Hoboken is. And the floor slanted, and there were um, real doors on the closets, like good solid like wood oak doors.
like you would have on the outdoor of your house.
It was just good doors, and then but the bedroom doors had closet doors, those folding ones that had like, it was just like it's almost just like this veneer is all, and there's like air on the inside. It was like those super cheap. And then the sink or the bathroom, how small it was. The sink was this
The
little.
sink, that's just how big the sink was. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was that it was that it
but
was
yet
that
that was in the bathroom, and the kitchen sink, it
it
was
was
like a tub.
it was a mop sink, something that you would put a mop in, and the shower was next to the oven.
That's right. That's right. The shower was very close
And
to
there
the
was
oven.
one window,
Yeah.
that had, like, a laundry line on it. It was disaster. It was
Yeah.
terrible, terrible.
And then, these guys would show up, and of course they would wreak some havoc, and there was a silly string fight in there, and it got all burnt into the radiator. I couldn't get it out of it. When it came time to move out, there were stains all over the rug, but the rug had the way it was like partial. It had like, I don't know, just a little bit more shag and a smaller shag and a larger shag, which is great too, because I could just cut away the stains that were on the rug, because it was, you wouldn't be able.
Jim's room, how narrow it was.
It was very narrow.
His room was a closet with a window at the end of it.
It was.
It was as
It was a closet.
it
Yeah.
was as wide as a window.
Yeah. It was a one-bedroom apartment that they made 2 bedrooms, because that was a closet.
No,
But that's all right. I grew up in a closet.
my place was yes.
No, it's true. In my house, it
Remember
was.
the fire was?
No, 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 that was a different. Okay, all right, got another story. See, we could do this all night. That's what I was figuring. Once it got rolling, we go all night. So I was just gonna mention how like it was literally a walk-in closet, and then when my brother was born, my younger brother was born, they ended up knocking down a wall, making the closet bigger. um, but Brian's referring to this time we came back. It was really late, and he was just gonna sleep over because we were very stewed, and there was a light switch going into the room that Brian was going to sleep in, but I don't know, it was like it was under repair or needed repair or something like that. And Brian and my younger brother Terrence was there, and when we went, we came in, and Brian, I think, was just in front, and I flipped the light on, and sparks flew out. And my younger brother's like, "We gotta get a fire. It can be a fire." And Brian, in this tired stupor state, just kind of stumbled back and goes, "I'm going to sit down for this fire." And just plopped it onto the bed.
Yeah.
Classic line. "I'm going to sit down for this fire."
Terrence still says that every once in a while.
Does he? As he should, man. That bears repeating.
That and we always talk about the bags of beer. Do you remember the Ziploc?
I was asleep for that, passed out for that. That was my bachelor party. Yeah, yeah, but apparently there was like, it was the end of the night, and there was some beer left over, and he wanted to make sure he preserved some of it.
Terrence thought it was a good idea to put beer in Ziploc bags to take home to drink later.
Oh no, it gets better, because he ended up, for some reason, he having a walk,
Yeah, well, he went to my house, and then he left,
and he had to
and
walk.
he walked
It's
home.
like 20 miles.
The police escorted him over the border.
Yeah, the police escorted him over the border.
But yeah, there's a couple things that Terrence always mentions about the Ziploc bags and the
Yeah, those are two that are definitely worth repeating.
definitely.
He was there for history in the making. So I'm thinking, look between looking at your camera and looking over this way. Go back and forth. Like, pretend he's another person. They're hanging out with us, and we're sharing stories with them that they never heard before. It's like another moron has come in and joined our group, and we're coaching them up on the nonsense. That's right. I just referred to the entire audience as a bunch of morons. Welcome, as we are morons indeed. And I'm not necessarily going to use any of this, just so you know.
I got you.